The desert heat pressed against Mai's skin like punishment. She walked slowly, the horizon trembling with light. Every step felt heavier than the last, but her mind burned hotter. Memories came uninvited, sharp and cruel as sunbeams. She saw Lynn at age 10, ribbons in her hair, smiling at their father. He called her my little star and handed her new shoes. Mai, barefoot in the doorway, held a broom and smiled anyway. That smile had been her armor since childhood. She remembered birthdays where Lynn got cakes and candles. Mai got chores in silence. When Lynn wanted piano lessons, their mother found the money. When Mai asked for textbooks, she was told to work for them. Family first, her father always said, meaning Lynn first. Mai learned early that fairness was not part of love. She kept quiet, she endured, she survived. At 16, she took her first job washing dishes after school. Every dollar went to her dream, a car, her freedom. 7 years later, she bought a used silver sedan. It was old, but it was hers, papers signed in her name. She called it her second heartbeat. Then came Lynn's requests, gentle at first, then demanding. Just once, just tonight, just for a week. Each promise ended with my walking to work instead. Still, she said nothing, afraid of being the selfish one. But last week, the silence cracked. Mai found tuition, receipts in their father's drawer. Thousands of dollars, Lynn's college paid in full. While Mai had scraped coins for her own classes. The unfairness tasted bitter, metallic on her tongue. She confronted her parents at dinner, voice shaking. "I'm selling my car," she said. Her father looked up slowly, his tone final. "That's the family car, Mai." Her mother added softly, "Your sister needs it more than you." Mai's hands trembled, but her voice steadied. "It's in my name. I worked for it." The silence that followed was thick and dangerous. Lynn stared down at her plate, pretending innocence. Her mother sighed, her father's jaw tightened. That night, no one spoke to her. The house felt colder than the desert wind. For the first time, Mai understood something important. Love without respect is just control with kind words. She lay awake, hearing Lynn's laughter through the wall. She imagined driving away, leaving the house forever. The thought terrified her and thrilled her all at once. The next morning, Lynn asked again for the car. Mai said no. A small word, but it felt like breaking chains. Her father's eyes turned dark. "You're choosing yourself over family," he said. "I'm choosing honesty," she replied. That was the moment everything began to unravel. The moment that led her here, under this brutal sun. Abandoned, alone, but finally seeing the truth. They had never wanted her independence. They wanted her obedience. Now the desert was her witness, her trial by fire. And she vowed that if she survived, she would never bow again. Mai stumbled forward, her breath shallow and sharp. The sun blazed overhead, turning the sand into burning glass. Her vision blurred, her skin blistered, her will the only thing left. She pressed the emergency call again, watching the screen flicker. The signal came, then vanished like a cruel joke. "Please," she whispered, her voice cracking. No answer. Only wind and silence. Her knees gave out and she fell hard, hands scraping against stone. Pain grounded her, reminded her she was still alive. She pushed herself up again, dizzy, trembling. She couldn't die here, not for them, not for their lesson. She followed the highway line, praying for a passing car. Minutes or hours passed, time dissolved in heat. Then a faint sound, distant at first, grew louder. An engine. A siren. A voice shouting her name. She turned weakly, raising one arm before everything went black. The police car stopped in front of a small suburban house. Mai stared at the familiar driveway, her stomach twisting. Her old silver sedan sat there, dust clinging to the windows. It looked tired, but it was hers, every bolt and scratch earned. Officer Harris stood beside her, calm but firm. "You don't have to face them alone," he said quietly. Mai nodded, though her hands shook as she gripped her wallet. Inside were her registration papers, her proof of truth. The door opened before she reached it. Her mother appeared first, face pale and tearful. "Mai, thank goodness you're safe," she cried, reaching out. Mai stepped back. "Please don't." Her father followed, his voice already hardened. "You caused enough trouble, young lady." Lynn hovered in the hallway, eyes down, pretending remorse. "This is about my car," Mai said, her tone flat. Officer Harris held up a hand. "Let's keep this civil." He turned to Lynn. "You took your sister's vehicle without consent." Lynn's lips trembled. "It was a misunderstanding." "We have the messages," Harris replied calmly. Color drained from her mother's face. Mai exhaled slowly, her heart pounding in her ribs. "I'm taking my car and my things," she said. Her father's voice rose. "You're part of this family, Mai." "Family doesn't abandon people in the desert," she answered. Harris stepped between them, his tone unshakable. "Sir, the car is registered under her name. It's her property." Her father's jaw tightened, words swallowed by pride. Lynn began to cry, reaching out. "I'm sorry, Mai, I didn't mean." "Stop," Mai said sharply. "You meant every word." Silence filled the room, heavy and final. She went to her old bedroom. The walls were bare, the air stale with old perfume. She packed quickly, clothes, papers, the small lockbox of savings. Every item felt like a piece of her freedom returning. When she came back downstairs, Harris waited by the door. Her mother clutched a tissue, eyes wet but empty. "Mai, please don't do this," she whispered. Mai met her gaze steadily. "You already did." Outside, the air felt cooler, cleaner. She loaded the last bag into the trunk and paused. Lynn stood at the door, face streaked with tears. "I just wanted to make you stay," Lynn said. "You did," Mai replied softly. "Now I'm staying away." She closed the trunk, her reflection faint in the metal. Officer Harris nodded. "You handled that with strength." Mai managed a small, tired smile. "I had to." As they drove away, the house grew smaller in the rearview mirror. Her parents stood frozen, their perfect image cracking under truth. At the corner, a blue hatchback waited. Trang leaned out the window, waving. Mai's chest loosened for the first time in days. She parked beside her friend, stepping into the fading light. "You're safe now," Trang said, hugging her tight. For the first time, Mai believed it. She looked at the horizon, the sky bleeding orange and gold. This wasn't an ending. It was the first step toward the life she had almost lost. Mai woke to sunlight streaming through thin curtains. The air smelled of coffee and freedom. Trang's small apartment was messy but warm, filled with life. Mai sat at the table, hands wrapped around a chipped mug. It felt strange to wake without fear. No shouting from the hallway, no guilt waiting at breakfast. Just quiet. Just choice. Trang slid a folder across the table. "Job listings," she said. Mai smiled weakly. "I'll take anything." "You'll take what you deserve," Trang replied. That afternoon, Mai applied for a position at a law office. The irony made her laugh. Law, after years of injustice. She typed carefully, attaching her resume built from diner work. The past no longer felt shameful. It was proof she had survived. Days passed in rhythm, coffee, work, paperwork, healing. Each sunrise carved away a little of the fear. At night, she reread the report Officer Harris helped her file. The evidence was there, black and white. Her family's messages, the abandonment, the years of exploitation. The truth didn't erase the pain, but it gave it shape. Now it belonged to her, not them. The letter arrived on a Tuesday morning, folded neatly and smelling of perfume. Mai recognized her mother's handwriting instantly. Her stomach tightened before she even read the words. "Your father's heart condition has worsened," it said. "We need you home, one family dinner, Thursday at 6. She stared at the page, the manipulation familiar as breathing. Trang watched from across the table, You don't owe them anything. Mai nodded slowly. I know, but I need closure. She packed carefully. No gifts, no expectations, just documents and courage. Thursday came with heavy clouds and colder air. The old house looked smaller than she remembered. Her mother stood at the door, arms open, tears rehearsed. Mai, you came, she whispered, reaching out. Mai stepped past her gently. Let's get this over with. The dining table was set with her childhood favorites. Fried chicken, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole. Even the photo albums were displayed like trophies. Her father sat at the head, posture perfect, voice smooth. Family dinner isn't complete without everyone, he said. Mai remained standing. How's your heart, Dad? He blinked, caught off guard. The doctor says stress. I called him, she interrupted. He hasn't seen you in months. The silence was thick enough to taste. Her mother's hands trembled, clutching her napkin. Why are you doing this? She whispered. Mai opened her folder and spread papers across the table. Receipts, bank records, printed messages, all in order. This is every time I paid your bills, every time I covered for Lynn. Lynn's eyes widened. You kept records. I had to, Mai said quietly. No one believed me. Her father's face reddened. You're making this worse than it was. I'm making it honest, she replied. Her mother began to cry softly, the same tears that once disarmed her. They didn't work anymore. Mai's voice stayed calm. I didn't come for forgiveness, I came to end it. She placed her house key on the table, the sound sharp in the silence. I release you from obligation, and myself from guilt. Lynn reached across the table, voice trembling. We can fix this. No, Mai said. You can fix yourselves, I'm done carrying it. Her father stood, anger simmering beneath his control. If you walk out, you're no longer family, he said. Mai met his gaze evenly. You already made that true. She turned toward the door, heart pounding but light. Her mother called after her, voice breaking. What about Christmas? Mai smiled faintly. I'll be with people who respect boundaries. She picked up her folder and walked into the night air. Behind her, the house was silent, their power finally gone. Outside, Trang waited in the car, engine running. Mai climbed in, exhaling slowly. You did it, Trang said. I did, Mai whispered. It's really over. As they drove away, the old house faded into darkness. The past shrank in the mirror until it disappeared completely. For the first time, the road ahead belonged only to her. 6 months later, the morning light filled Mai's new apartment in Phoenix. The curtains moved gently in the desert breeze. She sat by the window, coffee in hand, the city quiet below. Her law office badge rested on the table beside her textbooks. Each page was a step toward the life she built herself. She no longer woke to guilt or fear. The silence here felt peaceful, not heavy. Her phone buzzed once, an unknown number. She let it ring until it stopped. The past could still reach out, but it could no longer touch her. She looked around the small room, walls painted pale gold. Every object inside was chosen, not inherited. Freedom was not loud, it was steady and soft. The sun melted into the horizon, turning the desert gold and red. Mai stood by her car, wind brushing through her hair. The same road that once nearly killed her now felt sacred. She watched the endless sky stretch above her, wide and forgiving. Every scar on her heart had become a map of survival. She was no longer the girl who begged to be seen. She was the woman who chose herself, fully and without apology. Her phone buzzed once more, Lynn's name on the screen. Mai smiled softly, then let it fade to silence. Some goodbyes are not spoken, they are lived. She looked ahead, the city lights flickering in the distance. A new life waited there, shaped by her own hands. She whispered to the wind, I'm not lost anymore. The desert answered in stillness, proud and quiet. Mai opened the car door, her reflection steady in the glass. The world was vast, and for the first time it was hers. She drove forward, headlights cutting through the dark. No fear, no hesitation. Only freedom. Only the road.